Richard Goodall is an upcoming young singer who gained immense popularity and astounded audiences. His remarkable vocal talent has captivated fans worldwide. However, beneath the elegant Richard's voice is a heart-wrenching, tragic story of the old man's life. Listening to his story, you would shed a tear. Join us as we delve into the poignant and challenging life journey of Richard Goodall. Richard was born and raised in Terre Haute, Indiana. He lived a simple life with his loving family in a modest home. From a young age, Richard loved music. He spent hours in his room with his Radio Shack stereo, singing along to his favorite songs and dreaming of performing on a big stage one day. As Richard grew older, he had to focus on life's responsibilities. After graduating from high school, he needed to find a steady job to support himself. Since college wasn't an option, Richard began working as a janitor at Chauncey Rose Middle School, only a few blocks away from his childhood home. The job gave him stability, even though it wasn't his passion. For 23 years, Richard took pride in keeping the school clean and safe. While he worked, he often sang, filling the school hallways with his voice. Students and teachers took notice and loved hearing him sing. He became known as the singing janitor, especially during Veterans Day celebrations, where his performance of God Bless the USA by Lee Greenwood became a community favorite. The students affectionately called him Mr. Richard. As time passed, Richard's talent began to gain attention, opening new doors. Could these opportunities bring more success? And what challenges does Richard face now? Stay tuned to find out. In 2022, at a school event, teachers encouraged Richard to pick a song that really showcased his talent. He chose the famous Journey song, Don't Stop Believin', as Richard sang. A teaching assistant recorded his performance and posted the video on TikTok. The video captured the deep emotion in Richard's voice, and by the next morning, it had gone viral with over 100,000 views. By the end of the weekend, it had surpassed 1 million views. Fans and even members of Journey, like Steve Perry, left comments on the video. As the video gained more popularity, the producers of America's Got Talent AGT noticed Richard and invited him to audition. Excited and amazed, Richard accepted the offer. The small-town janitor was about to step onto one of the world's biggest stages. 2 years later, on May 27th, Richard stood before the AGT judges Simon Cowell, Sofia Vergara, Heidi Klum, and Howie Mandel. Nervous but determined, he began to sing Don't Stop Believin'. His performance was so incredible that it earned him a standing ovation from the audience and judges. Touched by his talent and story, Heidi Klum pressed the golden buzzer, sending him straight to the live shows. As golden confetti fell around him, Richard felt overwhelmed with emotion, realizing his dream was coming true. In the following live shows, Richard continued to impress with his powerful voice and humble personality. His story inspired millions, proving that hope and perseverance could bring amazing opportunities. From being a janitor to a rising star, Richard's journey was a reminder that life can take unexpected turns. Even as his fame grew, Richard remained humble. In July, a music team helped him select songs that showcased his vocal range and emotional depth. The AG staff made sure Richard had everything he needed, from social media support to emotional guidance during the intense competition. As the live shows approached, excitement in Terre Haute grew. The whole community rallied behind Richard, organizing watch parties and voting drives to support their hometown hero. On August 13th, families and friends gathered around their TVs, eager to see Richard perform again. Whether or not he won, Richard's future looked bright. His new fame brought many opportunities, from recording albums to performing with famous artists. But through it all, Richard remained the same humble janitor who used to sing in the hallways of Chauncey Rose Middle School. Everyone has a story, and Richard's is one of hope and inspiration. Stay tuned as we continue exploring his journey. Richard's story is one of love, loss, and healing. Even in the darkest times, there's always hope for a new beginning. Looking at Richard's journey, we see a man who faced incredible loss but found a way to move forward, keeping the memory of his first wife close to his heart as he entered a new chapter in his life. Before his time on America's Got Talent, Richard mentioned that he was just a janitor with a fiancée. While he has found happiness again, his path was filled with heartache. Richard often shared that he would sing alone in his room, dreaming of having a band. But that's not entirely true. Richard was part of a local band in Terre Haute called Manipur. Everything changed when the video of him singing Don't Stop Believin' went viral. Suddenly, the band started getting requests to perform at local bars, and they accepted every offer. By July, they were fully booked. Richard excitedly shared, "We're booked every weekend in July. Thanks to the band for their hard work and to our manager for securing the gigs. See you Saturday at Archie Sports Bar at 7:30, don't miss a note." There's even talk of Richard performing with Manipur in the finals of America's Got Talent. One of his bandmates said, "I wasn't surprised by the response. I knew it was coming. He deserved it. He's just so good, especially singing Journey songs." Richard Goodall, who used to sing alone in his room, is now a viral sensation with his band. AT announced they would cover all of Richard's expenses for his journey to the competition. A GoFundMe campaign started by Chris Bond, a fellow Terre Haute resident, raised an impressive $15,000 to support support Richard. Chris's message was, "Let's give our AG Golden Buzzer winner the support he deserves." Richard traveled alone for his first AD competition, but with the money raised, his family could now join him for the next level. In August 2022, Richard sang "Don't Stop Believing" with Rudy Cardenas from American Idol in front of a huge crowd. Rudy had seen the viral video and invited Richard to perform with him. Together, they created a magical moment on stage, and the crowd loved every second. Richard's journey from being a janitor to singing with a famous singer like Rudy is a testament to how dreams can come true if you believe in yourself. After the performance, Richard shared a heartfelt message on Instagram, expressing his gratitude and absolutely awesome day. "Thank you to the Drake family for setting this up, Jeff Gindhart and Chelsea for being my brothers from another mother and filming me, and the whole Mill staff, the awesome band, and my Terre Haute friends in the audience. I hope more to come. Still enjoying the ride, while for years, people had told Richard Goodall how amazing his voice was, and that he should audition for a singing competition. Finally, he felt ready to take the plunge. After seeing how much people loved his singing on social media, Richard submitted a video of himself singing "Don't Stop Believin" to The Voice, hoping to secure a spot on the show. But then came the crushing news. He received an email from The Voice saying he wasn't moving on to the next round. It was a huge disappointment for Richard, who had been so excited about the audition. The rejection hurt deeply, but Richard wasn't ready to give up on his dream just yet. Instead, he decided to try his luck on America's Got Talent AD. He shared his feelings on Instagram, expressing how he still believed in his talent, even if The Voice didn't recognize it. He also mentioned that sometimes, regular people don't get the chances they deserve, but thanked his supporters for standing by him. After one of Richard's TikTok videos went viral, he began to attract the attention of big names in the music industry. One of those people was Steve Perry, the famous American singer and songwriter. Steve commented on Richard's TikTok, saying, "I love this. It was a huge moment for Richard, who had always admired Steve. Having someone he looked up to appreciate his talent meant the world to him." Richard responded with a heartfelt thank you, sharing how much Steve's support meant to him. But it didn't stop there. Richard also received support from the official Journey account on TikTok, which reposted his video. Even Howie Mandel, a famous comedian and AG judge, reacted to Richard's TikTok, saying that Richard needed to be on AD. All of this attention only made Richard more determined to pursue his dreams. At first, Richard couldn't believe what was happening. He thought the comments and reposts might be from fake accounts, and he didn't want to get his hopes up. But once he realized they were real, it felt like a dream come true. Despite his growing fame, Richard remained humble and used his story to inspire others. His message of hope encouraged people to pursue their passions and connect with their loved ones. Richard often shared that extraordinary moments can happen to anyone, at any time. His journey from a school janitor to a national sensation was not just about unexpected fame, it was a story of resilience, community, and the power of music. As he stood on the ADT stage, surrounded by applause, Richard knew that this was just the beginning. The best was yet to come. But then, tragedy struck. What heartbreaking news did Richard face? Keep watching to find out. Heartbreaking news for Richard. Richard Goodall had always been told he had a voice that could move people. For years, those around him encouraged him to audition for a singing competition, and he finally decided to give it a try. He had seen how much people loved his voice on social media and felt that it was time to take the next step. He chose The Voice as the platform to showcase his talent. The song he picked was "Don't Stop Believin'," a song that held deep meaning for him. He practiced and poured his heart into his audition, hoping this would be his big break. But the news he received shattered those hopes. The email from The Voice read, "Hello Richard. Thank you so much for auditioning in our virtual open call. We have reviewed your performance of Don't Stop Believin'. Unfortunately, you will not be moving on to the next round. Please keep working, and we hope to see you again next season." These words hit Richard hard. He had truly believed in his talent and thought he had a good chance. The rejection wasn't just a disappointment, it was a deep hurt. He had always been told he was good enough, and now it felt like that wasn't true. But Richard wasn't someone who gave up easily. Rather than let this rejection define him, he decided to use it as motivation. He shared his feelings with his supporters on Instagram, writing, "Just so everyone knows, I'm worthy of The Voice, but I'll try for AGT. Regular people just don't cut it in this world. Love you all for your support." Richard Goodall, though it was clear he was hurt, it was also clear he was determined. If The Voice didn't recognize his talent, Richard believed AGT might. With a heavy heart but unwavering resolve, he prepared for the next challenge, knowing this was his time to shine. When Richard decided to audition for America's Got Talent, he carried with him the pain of rejection, but also the hope for a fresh start. He was ready to make his dreams come true, no matter how many setbacks he faced. Richard's story was one of resilience, showing that even when life puts obstacles in your way, You can keep moving forward and find new opportunities. Richard's time on A deeply touched many people. He shared his love for his fiancée, Angie, but there's a part of his life filled with deep sorrow and loss that he hasn't spoken much about. Before Angie, Richard had a wife he dearly loved. Her name has not been made public, but their story was one of love and heartache. Richard and his first wife were together for 30 years, celebrating every milestone and building a life full of cherished memories. They celebrated every holiday with joy, and their photos showed the deep connection they shared. But in 2021, their lives were turned upside down when Richard's wife was diagnosed with cancer. Richard stood by her side throughout the battle, giving her all the love and support he could. But cancer is a formidable enemy. On June 19, 2021, Richard lost his beloved wife. The pain of her loss was overwhelming. Richard shared a deeply emotional message on Instagram, expressing his grief. "I'm so sorry. I did my best, but my best wasn't good enough." Cancer is like getting punched in the gut, falling to the ground, then being told to get back up and start all over. These words captured the deep sorrow Richard felt. He had done everything in his power to save her, but in the end, it wasn't enough. Losing his wife was like losing a piece of himself. Despite the deep pain, Richard knew that life had to go on. A few months after his wife's passing, Richard found love again with Angie, a woman who brought light back into his life. On August 25th, not long after his wife's death, Richard shared a photo with Angie, captioning it, "Fun night with Mylene at Taco Tequilas." Angie helped Richard find happiness again. But it's clear that his journey to joy was paved with heartache and loss. Fame can bring its own challenges. Will Richard struggle with the pressures that come with fame, or will he overcome them? Keep watching to find out. Richard Goodall's struggle with fame. Richard wasn't prepared for the harsh realities of fame. As he gained recognition, he also became a target for online trolls and hurtful comments. The internet can be both a place to showcase talent and a place of cruelty. Richard began receiving negative comments about his looks, age, and even his talent. These remarks, although from strangers, weighed heavily on him. The pressure was mounting. As the competition went on, Richard's performances remained strong, but those close to him noticed that the joy in his eyes was slowly fading. He was doing what he loved, but the weight of everyone's expectations was taking its toll. The demands of the show, along with the public scrutiny, were pushing him to his limit. Richard's personal relationships began to suffer. The celebration of his talent had turned into a nightmare he couldn't escape. Richard found himself trapped in a cycle of stress and anxiety, trying to live up to the image that had been created for him, while losing sight of who he truly was. This raises important questions about the impact of reality TV on its participants. Shows like ADT offer a platform for people to showcase their talents, but the reality is far more complex. The intense competition, the constant pressure to perform, and the exposure to public criticism can be overwhelming. For someone like Richard, who had lived a simple, quiet life, the sudden shift to fame was more than he could handle. ADT is known for giving ordinary people a chance to shine. For Richard Goodall, it was his opportunity to share his voice with the world, of voice that had mostly been heard within the walls of the school, where he worked as a janitor. What started as a story of hope and promise ended in tragedy, revealing the darker side of fame and the harsh reality of being on TV. To truly understand Richard Goodall's tragic journey, we must first look back at how it all began. Richard never sought fame, in fact. His rise to stardom was purely accidental. A colleague filmed him singing in the school gym and shared the video online, not expecting much. But the internet can be unpredictable, and soon enough, the video went viral.
Richard's story is one of resilience, showing that even when life throws obstacles in your way, you can keep going and find new paths to success. Richard Goodall touched many hearts when he appeared on America's Got Talent and spoke so lovingly about his fiancée, Angie. But there's a part of his life that he hasn't shared with the world, a part filled with deep sorrow and loss. Before Angie came into his life, Richard had a wife whom he loved dearly. Her name has not been made public, but the story of their life together is one of love, pain, and heartache. Richard's first wife was his partner for 30 years. Together, they built a life full of love and special memories. They celebrated every Christmas and Valentine's Day with joy, and the photos of those times show just how much they meant to each other. Their smiles, the way they looked at each other, everything showed the strong bond they shared. But life can be very hard. In 2021, Richard's world was turned upside down. His wife was diagnosed with cancer, a battle that no one ever wants to face. Richard did everything he could to support her, standing by her side as she fought the disease. He poured all his love and strength into helping her, but cancer is a cruel enemy. On June 19, 2021, Richard lost his beloved wife. The pain of losing her was unbearable. On Instagram, Richard shared a message that showed just how much he was hurting. He wrote, "I'm so sorry. I did my best, but my best wasn't good enough. Cancer is like getting punched in the gut, falling to the ground, then told to get back up and start all over." These words came straight from his heart, showing the deep sorrow he felt. He wanted to protect her, to save her, but in the end, he couldn't. For Richard, losing his wife was like losing a part of himself. They had shared so much, 30 years of love, laughter, and life together. The photos of them from happier times are a bittersweet reminder of what once was and what was lost too soon. Despite the pain, life had to go on. After some time, Richard found love again. On August 25th, not long after his wife's passing, he posted a picture on Instagram with Angie, the woman who brought a new light into his life. The caption read, "Fun night with Mylene at Taco Tequilas." It's clear that Angie brought joy back into Richard's life, but it's also clear that the road to happiness was paved with tears and heartache. Richard's story is one of love and loss, of pain and healing. It's a reminder that even in the darkest times, there is hope for a new beginning, but the scars of the past remain. As we look at Richard's journey, we see a man who has faced incredible loss, but who has also found a way to keep moving forward, carrying the memory of his first wife in his heart as he steps into a new chapter of his life.
What are the secrets about Richard Goodall that America's Got Talent kept hidden? Richard Goodall won the Golden Buzzer on America's Got Talent, but before his performance, he told us about himself. He mentioned that he is just a janitor and has a fiancée. However, what we discovered about him is shocking. So let's get started. Richard spoke lovingly about his fiancée, Angie, on America's Got Talent, but there's a part of his life he hasn't shared with the world. Richard had a previous wife, whose name remains private, but we have some pictures of her that tell a bittersweet story. Tragically, she passed away on June 19, 2021, after battling cancer. On Instagram, Richard shared a heartbreaking message about his late wife. "I'm so sorry. I did my best, but my best wasn't good enough. Cancer is like getting punched in the gut, falling to the ground, then told to get back up and start all over." These words resonate deeply, showing the pain and struggle he endured. Their relationship spanned an incredible 30 years, filled with love and cherished moments. They were inseparable, celebrating every Christmas and Valentine's Day together. The photos of them during these occasions reveal a bond that was truly special, but life took an unexpected turn. Not long after his wife's passing, Richard found love again. On August 25th, he posted a new image on Instagram with his new love, Angie, captioning it, "Fun night with Mylene at Taco Tequilas." It seems Richard has found happiness again, but the journey to this point was undoubtedly filled with heartache. Richard often mentioned that he was alone in his room, singing with his radio stereo and lamenting that he didn't have a band. But that's not entirely true. Richard Goodall is actually part of a local band in Terre Haute, Indiana, called Menopause. Everything changed when a TikTok video of Richard singing Journey at a middle school went viral. Suddenly, Menopause started getting requests to perform at local bars. They accepted every offer, and by July, the band was fully booked. Richard exclaimed, "And just like that, we're booked every weekend in July. Thank you to the band for their awesome hard work and to our manager for securing the gigs. See you folks Saturday night at Archie's Sports Bar at 7:30. Don't miss a note." There's even talk that Richard might perform with Menopause in the finals of America's Got Talent. One of Richard's bandmates shared, "I wasn't surprised at all by the response. I knew this was coming. He deserved it. He's just so good, especially at singing Journey. He's the perfect Journey singer." Richard Goodall once sang alone in his room, dreaming of having a band. Now, with Menopause, he's a viral sensation. American Got Talent has announced they will be covering all of Richard Goodall's expenses for his journey to the competition. As you know, Mr. Goodall works as a janitor and doesn't make a lot of money, making it difficult for him to afford plane tickets, accommodations in California's expensive hotels, and other related costs. But here's where the story takes a heartwarming turn. Chris Burson, a fellow resident of Terre Haute, Indiana, took it upon himself to launch a GoFundMe campaign, raising a remarkable $15,000. His rallying cry was, "Let's give Terre Haute, Indiana's AGT Golden Buzzer winner, our support." Richard Goodall traveled to the first competition alone on his first ever flight. This August, he returns for 10 days to compete at the next level. Your generosity will allow him to have a worry-free experience financially. His travel and accommodations are covered, but his support group and other expenses are not. Let's ensure his family can accompany him and that he has whatever else he might need. The campaign, started on May 30th, 2024, has already hit its goal as of June 9th, with an an overwhelming 382 people contributing to the cause. The outpouring of support from the community has been nothing short of extraordinary. This collective effort ensures that Richard Goodall, who touched hearts with his golden buzzer performance, can focus entirely on his next competition, backed by the love and support of his community. Richard Goodall had a chance to sing in front of a huge crowd in August 2022. He sang the song "Don't Stop Believin" with Rudy Cardenas from American Idol. That night, Richard stood on stage like he had done it many times before. He looked very comfortable and confident. The song "Don't Stop Believin" was just right for his strong voice. Rudy Cardenas, a singer from Venezuela who was on American Idol and sings in a rock band, saw a video of Richard singing "Don't Stop Believin'." He was so impressed that he asked Richard to join him on stage, and before they started singing, Rudy introduced Richard to the crowd in a very exciting way.
I recently learned that there has been a TikTok phenomenon. Maybe you and half the country have seen it, but there is a singing janitor from right here in Terre Haute. And let me tell you, when I saw the video, I was like, there is no way that this is real. But let me tell you right now, it is real, and he's here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, dreams do come true. Let me introduce to you an amazing singer, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Richard Goodall.
Together, Richard and Rudy created a magical moment with their singing. Richard's story of going from being a janitor to singing with a famous singer like Rudy shows how dreams can come true if you keep believing. After his performance, Richard posted a video on Instagram and he said, "An absolute awesome day. Thank you to the Drake family for setting this up, Jeff Gindhart and Chelsea for being my brother from another mother and filming me, and the whole Mill staff, the awesome band and my Terre Haute friends in the audience. I hope more to come. Still enjoying the ride, y'all. Richard and Angie." After many years of people telling Richard Goodall that his voice was amazing and that he should audition for a singing competition, he finally decided to try out for The Voice. He had seen how much people loved his singing on social media and he felt ready to take the next step. Richard sent in a video of himself singing "Don't Stop Believing" for the audition, hoping to make it onto the show, but then he got a disappointing email from The Voice. "Hello Richard, thank you so much for auditioning in our virtual open call. We have reviewed your performance of Don't Stop Believing. Unfortunately, you will not be moving on to the next round. Please keep working, and we hope to see you again next season." Richard was crushed. He couldn't believe they didn't want him on the show, but instead of giving up, he decided to try out for America's Got Talent, AGT. He shared his thoughts on Instagram, saying, "Just so everyone knows what I'm worthy of The Voice, but I'll try for AGT. But regular people just don't cut it in this world. Love you all for your support, Richard Goodall." The Voice had missed a big opportunity by not giving Richard a chance, but Richard didn't let this stop him. He was determined to show everyone his talent on AGT. His journey was far from over, and he was ready to prove that he could make his dreams come true. After Richard Goodall's TikTok went viral, he caught the attention of some big names in the music world. One of those big names was Steve Perry, a famous American singer and songwriter. When Steve Perry commented on Richard's TikTok saying, "I love this," it was a huge moment for Richard. To have someone he admired so much appreciate his voice meant the world to him. Richard responded to Steve Perry with gratitude, saying, "Love your music, sir. Thank you for commenting. This means so much to me. Thank you." You could tell from Richard's reply just how much he admired Steve Perry, but it didn't stop there. Richard received support from all over. The official Journey account on TikTok reposted Richard's TikTok to show their support. Even Howie Mandel, a famous comedian and judge on America's Got Talent, posted a video reacting to Richard's TikTok, writing at the bottom that Richard needs to be on AGT. At first, Richard couldn't believe it. He thought it might be fake accounts or videos. He didn't want to get too excited in case it wasn't real, but then he found out it was genuine, and it was a dream come true.
Romantic, I forgot somehow.